Here I present to you my art portfolio of what I believe poetry means. I call this my journey through poetry. So these are the artworks that I have created by hand in my knowledge of what poetry really means and how they apply to me. This can mean how I create my art and what I think of poetry. So, poetry are thoughts that turn into figures. The moment we read poems, we tend to imagine figures in our heads to picture what they really mean to us. This is not necessarily how we interpret what the author says, but it is rather how we imply it in our lives and how we create poems. My second thought is that poetry is when superficial meets reality. Imagination goes wild when we think of figures. This is what we call imagery and other figures of speech, like metaphors and hyperbole. My last thought is that meanings are endless. So, this is when we have multiple meanings to a word we read. It is also important how we read the lines as we look at figures of speech and literary devices. So, these are the artworks that reflect my knowledge of poetry. Basically, this is how I see poetry. I have compiled some words from different poems like Shakespeare, Neruda, and Gluck to help me understand poetry. You may check the attached photos to have a closer look. Thank you and God bless.